Hi, and welcome to Mixing Coach. Now, we're going to get straight into the questions, and the first question is from Jen Dixon. She asked, how do I get my vocals to sit in the mix? Now, we're going to start off with some homework. I know, it's a pain, right? I want you to go listen to 3 songs, 1 minute of 3 songs. It's very important that you do this. Go listen to Wonderwall by Oasis for 1 minute. When you're done with that, I want you to listen to 1 minute of any song from Michael Jackson's Thriller. And then when you're done with that, I want you to listen to 1 minute of any Dua Lipa song. I didn't say this was going to be fun. So go off, do it, come back, pause the video. Now, hopefully you did do that. And if you did do that, what did you learn? You learned that sitting in the mix is pretty subjective. Whose idea was it to mix Liam Gallagher's vocal so loud in Wonderwall? Or Michael Jackson, one of the biggest artists of the 80s? Did you hear how quiet the vocal was relative to what we're used to listening to? Here in 2022, when you listen to Dua Lipa, right? It's a pop song. You expect the vocal to be loud, but maybe it's the most reasonable balance of all 3. So the first lesson I'm trying to give you is don't stress. There's a huge variance in people's interpretation of where sitting in the mix really is. So now, the second thing is when you're doing a mix, it's a little like building a house. If you built a house and you just built big walls and then you decided to put windows in them, you'd have to smash holes in the walls, right? It's a little bit like your mix. If you build your entire mix without thinking about the vocal, without the vocal in, at least reasonably early, you're not creating space. So people now, they're like, oh, I have to carve out space for my vocal with EQ. Well, you know what? If you maybe got the foundation of your mix together, put the vocal in, and then built the rest of your mix around the vocal, you would find you had space for it. So that is the first thing I would tell you to do. The second thing is, if you're really not sure about the level of your vocal, just go ahead, put your mix up, press play, and leave the room, and kind of almost close the door and just stand outside the door and have a listen. And you'll be able to kind of magically tell what the actual level of the vocal is. It all kind of gets summed to mono. You're just hearing it from another room, and it's a very, very good trick. So the other thing to say is where something sits in the mix is also culturally dependent. If you're mixing songs from India, they love loud vocals. If you're mixing songs from France, historically as well, they also love loud vocals. So don't let it stress you out. For me, personally, I just like it to be clear. I like to be able to understand the words. And that really is it, delivering the best experience to the listener. Now, some of the ways you get even vocals are the following. In every modern DAW, you have an amazing feature, which in Pro Tools is called clip gain. And you can basically just select sections of the vocal, and you can adjust the gain up or down. So if you have one very, very quiet line, you can just tweak it up. If you have a word which is too loud, you can just pull it down. And this is before you start crushing it into some compressor. Now, so you can go through and kind of even up the vocal section to section so it sounds a little bit more like it would ideally before you compress. Now, of course, most vocals, most modern vocals anyway, are relatively compressed, okay? But don't forget to automate. This is the other key to getting really great vocals that sit. A lot of people just want to set up some compression, set and forget, let the whole track run. Me, I know I'm almost always going to have to automate the vocal up, at least through the chorus if I'm doing nothing else. Why? The chorus is more dense, and I know I'm going to have to just push the vocal up. It's often just as simple as turning things up in a mix and not leaving them static. And it's conversely, it's the same with an intro. There's nothing wrong with with just pulling the level of the vocal down in the beginning of the song if it's kind of got a quieter intro. You hear people do it all the time. They just set and forget. The vocal is super loud in the intro, same level as in the chorus. It doesn't make any sense. Now, when we're mixing and when we're engineering, we're kind of creating illusion all the time. So when you have a loud section, someone screaming, and then you have almost a spoken section, they end up at the same level almost in most mixes. And that's what we're doing. We're creating illusion. And just always keep that in mind. The last thing I want to quickly talk about, and it's too long to speak about in this one video, is effects. Now, there's many choices of effect, but I would suggest that you always try and tailor them to the song you're working on. You know, you don't really want big, long, huge reverbs in a fast song. You're going to want tighter things. You're maybe not going to want to use as much reverb or any reverb, and try using delays instead. Small delays, slap, maybe something that's timed to the tempo of the track. It's very easy to do in any modern DAW. And the effects which you use on your vocal, again, don't need to be static. You don't need to just put a delay on and a reverb and then press go and that's it. What you can do, and what I do, is ride the levels of the reverb returns. This means that maybe I want it drier. When it's drier, a vocal comes more to your face in a verse, let's say, because typically the verse is delivering the message of the story of the lyrics, right? When we get to the chorus, it's more about feeling an atmosphere. Up come the level of the effects in the chorus. Syncs it a little bit back, but we've just turned it up with our automation, remember? So anyway, there are some thoughts and ideas and some tips with regards to getting a vocal to sit in the mix. I hope you find it useful. If you have a question, please leave it below and I will try and answer one by one in future videos if you enjoyed this. If you did enjoy this, please like and subscribe, and I will catch you soon. Take care. Happy recording.